1999, and I was at the Ritz-Carlton, beautiful hotel in Naples, Florida. And I'm sitting in a lounge, and across the bar is Paul McCartney, Sir Paul McCartney. Now, if anyone knows, 1999 is about a year after his wife passed away. He was somber, he was alone, and I was a fan, and I wanted a photo with him. And I'm thinking, how do I get a picture with Paul McCartney? Horrible timing. So this is before the iPhone came out. I walked up to Mr. McCartney, I go, sir, do you mind a photo? He went, sure. And I gave him my camera, and I stood over here and smiled. He goes, you want me to take a picture of you? I go, yeah. Who else can say Paul McCartney took this photo of me? And I had a half hour with him after that. Because what I did is I thought differently, and I want you to think differently. I don't want you to be normal and regular. I want us to go, and I hate that term, outside the box, but I want us to think outside the box. Who here is in the broadcast industry? Raise your hand, I want to see broadcasters. Who here is an artist? What's someone else do? Who's lawyers? What do you got? Government. How many government people? Who's paying for dinner tonight? Okay, so let's talk about this whole idea. I'm a broadcaster. I'm a guy that started on radio way back in the late 80s and 90s. I'm a super connector. I have this power where I can look at somebody and say, you two need to know one another. And I help those people find a way to produce great things together. I try to meet 15 new people every single day. People are my product. I understand what my product is. And I'm the guy that created the podcast. So way back in the 90s, I was the first to actually stream the first radio show. I was it. And then I actually created the tools to do the first podcast. So I've been around a long time. I actually dye my hair because the grays are so pronounced. But what I want to do is I want to tell you a little about what I see when it comes to artists. On my shows, what I do is I take great artists and I use them as mentors to the rise of the stars. So here from Akon to Scott Page from Pink Floyd to Kenny Aronoff, who's played with some of the greatest bands, to Mark Schulman, who plays with Pink. They're my mentors. They're the ones that understand the industry, and I bring them together to help train and elevate other artists. Because I think artists are one of the crown jewels we need to take advantage of in a way to where we elevate them. Because they need mentoring like every entrepreneur does. My new show is called Voice of Disruption, which I launched a couple of weeks from now, and it's all around disrupting the world. What's happening when it comes to disruption? For example, I'm disrupting myself. Recently I went to this neuro center where they take your brain and they basically stimulate it so it goes up to another level. Something like this just happened to me. All right, let's do it again. Zap me. Oh, I love it. Audience. But what I was trying to prove is we can always take ourselves to another level. And that's what I'm going to be talking about in my new show. But enough about me. Let's talk about you and your customer. Who is your customer? Who are the ones that are paying you for what you do? And this is both on the broadcaster side, the government side, the artist side. And I want to dive a little deep into this because I want us to understand that we have very interesting age groups that are out there. We have anyone in this group right here? Any silent generation? There's a few out there. Baby boomers, Gen X, and then on the other side we have this group. We have the millennials, we have the edgers, and then we have the Gen Alpha. And what's really interesting, if you look at these two groups, this is how they're broken down in my eyes. I'm going to oversimplify it. When you went to school, you had a desk and a chair. The other group, they all sat around a table. They were a community. They are a community. Very, very different than the old school group. Which means is, this group from millennials to the Gen Alpha, they are all around the sharing economy, which I know you've all heard of, the sharing economy. Because the sharing economy are apps and tools like this. You see them all the time. You have Uber, the Postmates, WeWorks, all of these are sharing economies. Which means is these groups are very, very different than the older groups. And unfortunately, broadcast is trying to talk to everybody the same way. And you can't. Everybody has to feel special and different. But if you look at the sharing economy, they are the app economy. that are all around that mobile device. And I know I'm not telling you anything you don't know. You already know all this. I know that. So artists need to make sure, and I work very closely with Akon, to have their own apps, their own things that are talking to their audience, to their customer. So if you are an artist and you are not working on some type of app, more than a website, you are missing the wave that's about to hit in a big way. So I'm under this dilemma situation. And the dilemma is, who uses Instagram? Who doesn't use Instagram? Who are you? Instagram is one of the most important tools when it comes to self-branding. It is, it's imagery. And of course now what Instagram has done, it went off and stole what Snapchat has done with the stories on the top. I love the stories. But my dilemma is, I have the stories that are on Instagram, and now you have Facebook has stories on the top, and so does Facebook Messenger. I don't know which one to use. Now this is the dilemma that faces most people, and that is, what do you do when it comes to social media? Because we're spending a lot of time on it, right? Yeah, let me give you an idea. This is you on social media over the course of your average lifetime. Almost 2 years on YouTube. Yeah, 19 months on Facebook. I would say Snapchat and Instagram will probably switch over, and then there's Twitter. This is the lifetime. And what's that great, how does that look when it comes to other activities? It's mind-blowing. Compared to other activities, you are doing more social media than everything else. Even more social media than socializing. Which means is this community is only but getting bigger and wider that are on digital devices. We have to be able to talk to those people properly. And by the way, the ages surprise me. Look at this. These are the ages. It's not millennials, it's the middle age. They're the ones that are looking down on their device. And everyone's different in some way. So how do we work with them? Well, what I want to do is I want to show you some interesting things that are out. Does anybody remember this? This was Ocarina. It was one of the first cool little apps that came out for the iPhone. It was a little app that allowed you to feel like you were a Peruvian artist. You blow into it and it sounded like this. No one bought this one for 99 cents. I justified it. This company called Smule, who made Ocarina, is probably one of the hottest social media companies many of you don't even know about. Let me show you what they're doing. First, they've raised about $102 million. $102 million. What are they doing? Well, this all started because of the idea of what's going on with artists and fans. Because right now, Smule has about 350 million users. And of them, they are paying, and I'll explain that in a moment, but look at this growth. 70% year over year for the last 7 years. That's a mind-blowing number. For a social media network many of you don't even know about. Who knows about Smule? A handful. It's pretty amazing, right? This is a friend of mine. By the way, this is them singing into their iPhone mic jack. This is what it sounds like. This is what Smule can do. And he's singing.
Over the of darkness, forget these wide-eyed fears. I'm here, now thinking on you. My friends will warn and call you.
He's sitting in his car, singing Phantom of the Opera. And he's got thousands and thousands of viewers that watch him duetting with somebody else. See, Smule is a platform that allows you to sing karaoke and to sing solo or to sing with somebody else. It's a new concept of real engagement. And that's what's going on. It's all around engagement. There's almost $200 billion in music sales a year. The labels have about 10%. And this is what's going on. We're seeing this big change. And the change is not streaming or passive engagement. It's real engagement, active engagement. And Smule is about active engagement. It's about becoming part of what's going on. Let me give you an example. If we look at brands, we know these brands here, the Googles, the Apples, the Gillettes, the BMWs. I'm going to say the brands are, the Akons, the Jay-Z's, and the Katy Perry's. These are the new brands, which will have lifestyles along with them. And they are looking at platforms like Smule because this allows them to engage with their fans. So let me take a couple of artists and give you an idea what this looks like if you haven't seen it. And I want to tell you what the revenue model is. It's mind-blowing. So here is right on the Smule app, which I recommend you to download. You can see artists sing songs together. And I want you to understand, one artist pre-recorded once, and other people sing with them over and over and over again. There's multiple revenue sources here. Watch this.
What? No, baby. So I say, I got the sheets on that little baby, and I can take it on to 100 degrees. I can't run.
Right, no, they're touring together now because of this. Because that one small song on Smule, they're actually touring and singing that song together. Here's something a little more simple. Watch this.
Oh, don't you dare look back, just keep your eyes on me. I say I'll hold you back. She said, shut up and dance with me. It's my destiny. She said, ooh, shut up and dance with me.
So the actual artist who sings that song is on the left-hand side. The participant, who's Maria, by the way, has now become an artist that's recognized, a Canadian, by the way, who is now touring because of Smule. So this app is not just self-discovery of music, but it's discovering new artists. And one last one, it's got a great story behind it. Watch this. The woman is who's in central Java, Indonesia, and she's singing on her mobile phone, and this is what happens.
Alright, let's do this together.
Let's go.
Sing.
Okay.
Baby, won't you tell me why there is sadness in your eyes? I don't wanna say goodbye to you. Love is one big illusion. I should try to forget, but there is something left in my head. Your turn.
You're the one who set it up.
So what's amazing about that story is that went onto YouTube, and the local media thought they were actually singing together, and it made the front cover of the Jakartan Times. And she got elevated to be a judge on what would be the equivalent to Somebody's Got Talent, America's Got Talent, Canada's Got Talent. She became a judge because of Smule. So these are the new type of platforms I want you to pay attention to. I love this. Here's the at least an incredible number to me. 20 million songs daily, and of that 1.5 million people are paying. And that money, by the way, is an 80-20 split. 80% goes to the artist, directly to the artist. Awesome revenue source. At least I think it is. I love seeing stuff like that. Okay, so today I'm going to talk to the broadcasters and I'm going to talk to the artists. I'm going to talk to both of you because I think you're very important to one another. I'm going to talk to the artists because you need to be thinking more and more like entrepreneurs. You got to be out there. You got to be hustling. And you have to see yourself not just as an artist, but as a network. Every one of your artists is a network. Because if you think about the idea of what it takes to be an entrepreneur, you have to be scrappy and aggressive. You don't have to be smart. You don't have to be smart. For example, does anybody know who these people are? No one here knows who these people are. They are the smartest people on the planet. They have the highest IQs. This is their IQs. And because they're so smart, this is what they do. Either they work for academia or they work for space programs. That's what they do. Okay? This is the highest IQ billionaire. His name's Paul Allen. He's number 26 on the Forbes list. And he's at the cream of the crop. He's the one who founded Microsoft. So if you look at a chart of smartness, and we go put Terrence on top, who's got the highest IQ, Paul Allen, who's equivalent to Albert Einstein, and Stephen Hawking. If you go down here to John F. Kennedy, who has a 117 IQ, Howard Stern, who has a 99 IQ, and Richard Branson, who has a 91 IQ, this is what you get. You get two groups. You get the group on top who's afraid of risk in most respects, and then you get the group that will jump out of the plane and build a parachute as they're coming down. Right? Difference there, there's your operators, and there's your leaders. I always like the saying, the A's and B's will work for the C's and D's. So you don't have to be smart, you just have to be scrappy and say, I'm going to do it. So let's talk about doing it. To me, these are the most disruptive people that have lived on the planet over the last 150 years. most disruptive people. Hopefully you know who they are. A few of them are actually the one in the lower corner. Noel Bushnell is one of my closest friends. These people have changed the planet. And these are the brands that have changed the planet. These are the most disruptive brands. And some of them are not even here anymore, by the way. They're gone. But I want to pick two of them real quick. I want to pick Tesla and SpaceX. And who runs them? Who owns them? Elon Musk. I had a chance to sit down with Elon, and he goes, well, what do you want to ask? I got one question I have for you, and that is, what are the three questions you ask yourself? What are they? And he sat there and pondered. Because again, the first one is this. What is your enemy? He asks himself this, and he wants everyone to ask this to themselves. Who is your enemy? Now, I'm not talking about North Korea. Who is your enemy? To him, it's oil. To him, it's the limitation of earth. To him, it's energy in the old school fashion. That's his enemy. Who's your enemy? You need to ask that of yourself. Who's your enemy? Next is, what makes you you? What makes you you? What's your name? Sherry, what's your favorite animal? A panda. Give me three adjectives that describe a panda. Cuddly? Cuddly? Hungry? One more. They're strong. So that's you. You said it. You need to know you, right? What makes you you? Much later. The idea is most of us don't know who we are. And then last, the most important is, what is your superpower? What do you do that separates you from everybody else? What's your superpower? Elon asks this of himself on a daily basis. And we need to be doing the same thing as artists, as broadcasters, as people in the industry. By the way, it's pretty amazing. If you think about Elon Musk, John Paul DeJoria, Travis Kalanick, Sarah Blankley, Brian from, I forgot his name, is it Rutkowski? None of them, by the way, all of them are multi-billionaires and none of them were experts in their field. None of them were. And they are changing the planet, which means you can too. Okay, enough of the motivational, inspirational talk. Let's get into it. All right, artists. I want to talk about SPACE. SPACE is an acronym, one of my favorite acronyms, and this is what it stands for. And this is what we all need to be doing. We need to be able to say, hey, we have a story. What's that story? What's our plan? Who's our army? How do we actually do conversions on that? And then how do we constantly educate ourselves and that community? Space. I'll explain why space is so important over and over again. Because this is what every one of those billionaires on the page before had. They have this space in their mind all the time. This is what they see on a regular basis. So let me talk to you artists. Artists, things have changed a lot. And if you're an artist, this is the biggest opportunity for you to connect with not just your super fans and your fans, but to the world. There's never been a better time, ever. Because I want you to think about, I don't know, does anybody know what these are? Top two were fake, bottom two are real. But they became something in the late 60s and 70s. What they became was a lifestyle. The Monkees, the Partridge Family, the Jackson 5, the Osmonds, they had a TV show, they had radio play, they had merchandise, they had concerts, and they had super fans. That's what artists want. It's a dream. How do you do that now? How do you make that happen for you? How do you become the next generation of the Monkees? So let's talk about TV shows. Today, this is your TV show. Facebook Live, Periscope, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, Periscope, radio play, Spotify, SoundHound, and podcasts. Merchandise. This is where you can sell stuff. Concerts. By the way, has anyone seen this whole idea of concerts in your home? I've met so many artists that are generating as much as $10,000 a week by doing concerts in people's homes. Week! It's mind-blowing. So you can actually do this yourself. And last is superfans, which I thought was really interesting. 65% of your revenue is generated by less than 5% of your fans. So Twitter. Twitter is what will connect you to these superfans. And this is your space. This is your space, and this is how an artist will actually work together. By the way, Twitter blows my mind. I hated Twitter initially. Now I realize it's the best broadcast mechanism anyone can ever have because it's direct and I don't have to pay. Where if you want to reach a mass on Facebook, you have to pay to reach your masses. On Twitter, you don't. One post goes to that one person or that many people. It's the power of Twitter because you can do that. Real-time network, direct to your actual customers. You have organic ability to grow and, of course, breaking news. And look at all these AI tools that was mentioned earlier that you can pop inside Twitter and run your Twitter in an artificial intelligence way. Some of these are free, but they're totally available to make your network run. And then let me talk to broadcasters last. Broadcasters, I've got a very simple question for you, wherever you're at. And that is, what is your purpose? Radio stations, what's your purpose? Because when I go in there, I still see the past. I don't see massive advancements. Matter of fact, they're still running Windows 95 in radio stations. I'm not kidding. Am I right? So this is what I think you should become, the glue. The glue that binds everything together, from the community to the actual artists to communication. And you need to influence the influencers. That's what broadcasters need to do. And when they do that, things will come together in a great way. So what can be done? Here's a quick way to clean up real quick on what broadcasters can and should be doing. One, they should be doing regular meetups. Broadcasters, wherever you're at, you should be bringing artists inside your stations, your TV networks, and bringing them in on a regular basis. You should be mentoring them. You should create workshops for them because they're your assets. They're the ones that are going to help you become great. Again, you need to invest in them. And last, you need to give them airplay. Last thing I want to do real quick, by the way, you've got to get uncomfortable. I want to talk about this guy just for a second. This is Casey Neistat. Casey on YouTube, these are his numbers. They're mind-blowing. He is a lifestyle. If you get any airtime on him, your product, your brand, whatever, explodes. And Casey, I took a video he had, I chopped it up real quick, but I think Casey explains it perfectly when it comes to all of us as content creators, as brands. This is what he has to say.
To the haters, the doubters, my 7th grade vice principal. To everyone who's ever told anyone with a dream they can't. This video is for you. Keep your head down, follow the rules, do as you're told, play it safe. Wait your turn, ask permission, learn to compromise. This is terrible advice. If I were to write an autobiography, a book about my life, what title that would work would be Do What You Can't. Because that idea encapsulates everything I've ever done. Like when I wanted to move to New York City, and my dad was like, you can't, you don't have any money. Or when I first said I wanted to make movies, and it was, you can't, you didn't go to film school. I want to have a TV show, you can't, Casey, you're not pretty enough. And to go even further, like if I were to characterize what this new generation of content creators and filmmakers, what we all do on YouTube and everywhere else, we do what we can't. You can't be an action movie filmmaker, but you get your parkour friends to dress up like video game characters, jump off some buildings, and you can. Right, Devin?
Yes.
You can't have a talk show, but you have a webcam and you can. Beautiful bastard. What?
This is my first YouTube video ever.
Next thing you know, you're interviewing the president.
I heard that you're going to be out of a job soon.
Maybe I'll start a YouTube show.
That's what I'm thinking.
You don't need gear, you don't need trucks or a crane, you don't need some big expensive camera rig that never works. When you're a creator, you don't need someone in your ear telling you what you can and can't do.
I'm ready to the subway!
What you can and can't say.
I accidentally did the shocker. Oh my god.
They call us gamers, influencers, internet famous.
What the fuck does that mean?
But we know something they don't. You can start a blog or a makeup channel. We're traveling around the world with a gigantic piano playing at beautiful places for interested people. When you're a creator, all you need is your phone, an internet connection, and a good idea. A story you want to share. Something you need to say.
Confidence is within yourself.
And then the rest is history. If you do it right, you have to quit the day jobs. Make friends from places you've never been. meetups, collaborations.
There's just two boys and two video cameras.
A life moving so fast and so full, you won't even have time to process it. So to my fellow creators, I say, keep creating, keep doing the work.
Hey
And never forget, you don't have to listen to anyone, because in this new world, no one knows anything. The haters, the doubters are all drinking champagne at the top deck of the Titanic, and we are the fucking iceberg. Voila. Do what you can't.
Do what you can. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for allowing me to do it.